Georgia's hardline conservative Secretary of State has been kind of a pioneer in ways to make voting harder in Georgia. His office has been really gung-ho about canceling people's voter registrations in that state. His office canceled over 600,000 voter registrations last year alone. Think about that. 600,000 people who thought they were registered, he canceled them. They've been closing voting precincts, often in poor and minority districts. He's been doing this kind of thing since we started covering him years ago. This year, however, that hardline elections official, that Republican Secretary of State, Brian Kemp, is not just the state of Georgia's hardline top elections official. This year, he's also running for the state's highest office. Republican Secretary of State Brian Kemp is running against Democrat Stacey Abrams to become Georgia governor this year. And that means that Secretary of State Brian Kemp is now in charge of an election in which he is running at the top of the ticket. What could possibly go wrong? Tonight, the Associated Press reports that more than 53,000 voter registration applications are sitting in a desk drawer at the Georgia Secretary of State's office on hold. So these are applications from people who are trying to register to vote this year. Many of these tens of thousands of voter applications are being held and not processed by Kemp's office because of a system he's implemented called exact match, which means if you drop a hyphen in your last name, or somebody at the elections office types in your information with one letter wrong so that it doesn't match information already on file with the state, well, your application is put on hold indefinitely, and the state doesn't tell you how to fix it, if it even tells you the application is on hold at all. You may or may not be surprised to hear that this system of exact matching affects certain groups of Georgians more than others. Quote, an analysis of the records obtained by the AP reveals racial disparity in the process. Georgia's population is approximately 32% black, but the list of voter registrations on hold with Kemp's office is nearly 70% black. Oh, it's affecting black Georgians at more than double the rate of their prevalence in the population. This would be a flashing red light story less than a month out from any election, but especially approaching the Georgia governor's race. Polls in that race show a toss-up. 53,000 votes is a lot of votes in a race that close. And again, these are people who have filled out the application, who are trying to be registered to vote. Many of these people may not even know that their effort was not successful. The Democratic candidate, Stacey Abrams, the first black woman major party nominee for governor in American history. Particularly, her campaign strategy explicitly depends on turning out black voters and registering new voters. And her opponent, Brian Kemp, is the Republican Secretary of State who's holding up 53,000 voter applications in his office. You know, past Georgia secretaries of state who have run for governor have stepped down from being Secretary of State in order to run, because it's a bad look to be in charge of the integrity of your own election, right? But Brian Kemp is not stepping down. He's staying in charge, saying everything is just fine. You can absolutely trust him. If you are a Georgia voter and your registration is in limbo on Election Day, you can still cast a provisional ballot, which I suppose may be counted eventually once your application is processed, if it is processed. But this is the situation in Georgia right now, 26 days before the election. And honestly, this is outrageous enough that it seems almost impossible that the courts will allow this to stand.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.